Okay. I think we're going to start. So yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to my talk. Really happy to see you all today. Really happy to be discussing all of this. Before we start, I would like first to acknowledge the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first Australian. We recognize their culture, histories, and diversity in their deep connection of the land, the water, and the seas of Australia and the Torres Strait. Let's acknowledge the Wurundjeri Wurrung and the Bunurong people as the traditional owners of the land on which we meet, and the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodian of Mergin, where Gameloft Brisbane is situated, and where the team is getting inspired to create new worlds and new stories. We pay our respect to elders, past, present, and emerging. So yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome to Fun is Broken. A talk about game dev psychology and how sometimes our own brain is becoming our own worst enemy in the video game industry. For those who don't know me, I am Manea Castet. I am the studio head of Gameloft Brisbane. And 5 years ago, I was at the peak of my career with shipping an amazing game, which is called Disney Dreamlight Valley, which got like 1 million players in like 9 days and super exciting. And then fast forward 5 years later, I just came out of one of the lowest down of my career with a super exciting game, being a super exciting and promising game being fully canceled. Like that, in a whim. A great game, and the cancellation has nothing to do with the team, with the game, or with Gameloft itself. But yeah, it was of course a pretty tough moment for us at Gameloft. And seeing how much it affected first me, but also the team, I started to want to take a step back and put some stuff on paper, and then on the slide. And that's the slide I would like to present today. So I want to talk about the fact that tools don't ship games, people do. And people are messy, emotional, and irrational, including me and you. We are not firefighting, we are not saving life, and yes, sometimes it really feels like life or death. Like, we stress, we become anxious, we have sleepless nights. Like, it's really intense doing video game. It's way harder than they tell us at the beginning when we arrive in this career, you know? And yeah, we tell ourselves lies, we fall into like mental battles, and I think it's one of the main unspoken reasons why so many people just quit the industry and go to an industry that is a bit more calm. So many of us also burn out, and at this stage the industry becomes like dangerous for their own health. And something even more sad, in my opinion, is that the unspoken reason why so many people lose their flame, their passion for the video game. And we all know that we don't happen to come in this industry by mistake. We all loved making games. We have that one game that makes us want to do a game, you know, for real. And I think it's pretty sad if we lose that, you know, because of the industry itself. And don't get me wrong, there is real reason to be stressing, not just in our head, but I think our head is not helping sometimes. So yeah, I've been in this industry for 20 years now almost, and I've been managing human beings for 20 years almost. And different size of team, different games, same problems. I think it's heavily related to the fact that we just don't train ourselves with this. We are not trained to deal with what's happening here. Like, of course, we have tutorials on how to use Unity. We have tools about how to bring creativity or agile methodology. We have a ton of things that teach us many things, but we are not taught how to use our brain and how this will impact others also. And I think it's a problem, and you know what they say? They say that talking about a problem is already half the solution. So let's do that today. Let's talk about the problem, and let's identify some actual, real, actionable solution that won't change our life, but at least will bring back a bit of the fun in making games. A few slides about me, so you know who is talking here on the stage. I was born and grown up in Tahiti and fell in love with video game really quickly. I literally have a picture of when that happened. You can see where my father came home in Tahiti and brought a Sega Genesis, and that blew my mind. That was the beginning of one of the longest love stories in my life, with many, many games. Lion King, Jurassic Park, Sonic. It was insane. And you can see that the legacy goes on. You can see some years later, me and my daughter playing right now Mario Galaxy on Nintendo Switch 2. So yeah, the legacy goes on. You can see some of the games that matters to me. Who in the room have played Tenchu 2? No. Oh, one person, thank you. It's a pretty niche game. It's a game about being a ninja. It was on PlayStation 1, and I'm talking about this one specifically because it's the game that made me want to do games. When I finished this game, well, kind of finished the game, I told myself, yeah, I want to do games. Oh, and also I need help. I'm spending way too much money and time in painting little figurines. I'm buying way too much board game that I never play, which make my wife really sad. Hello. And I do weird things with tabletop RPGs and Call of Cthulhu campaigns. So yeah, I need help. Please send help. On a more serious note, I'm going to talk a little bit of my career and how I came to here today. I hated the concept of having a job, having a boss, and having a salary, and have to do that all your life. So I knew that if I had to do that, it had to be doing something I loved, video games. So I had to quit Tahiti at the age of 18 and to go to France to get a master's degree in game design and production management. And I started my career as a game designer, actually. Maybe some of you know Dofus, a game done in France, MMORPG. But yeah, so that's how I learned video game. But really quickly, I knew I wanted to create my own indie studio. So I created Bayuk with a couple of friends. We stayed alive 7 years, and anyone who have an indie studio knows it's hard. We grew up to 25 people, and it was amazing. I'm sure we have a lot of entrepreneurs or indie in the room, and you know that when you create your own company, you learn so many jobs, you do so many things, it's going to change your life forever, and you're going to use this learning everywhere else in your career after. So I highly recommend that. Do this when you don't have kids, ideally. But yeah, so we did Bayuk. It was great. We had a B2C activity where we were doing our dream games, and also we had more B2B service agency where we were doing games and apps. And it was the beginning of the App Store, so a lot of people wanted apps. So we did around 60 games and apps, and yeah, I'm really proud of some of them. Really, really cool. After 7 years at Bayuk, I wanted to do something different. Initially, we wanted this company to stay 5 years, and after 7, we decided to close it. And this is where I joined Gameloft Montreal. I was a game manager, which is a funky name for mix of executive producer or game director. And I worked on 4 games, but the highlight was, as I said at the beginning, Disney Dreamlight Valley. I was really lucky with this one. I was pitching a game at a time where the word cozy game did not really exist. Animal Crossing have not been released during COVID. So of course, the true know that it's a game that started on GameCube. But yeah, so it was pretty tough to explain to everybody that I wanted to do a game which was you don't kill anyone, you just have fun, gardening, etc. I was really lucky because the big boss of Disney Pixar games at the time was a huge fan of Animal Crossing, and he understood what I wanted to go for. So I was able to build a small team first, 5 people, who grew up to 120 people, and who delivered an amazing game. An amazing game that got a lot of nomination, BAFTA, DICE, Canada Game Award, and became Gameloft, and is still become Gameloft's biggest hit. So really exciting, really lucky to be working with these legendary characters that we all grow up with. But after that, I wanted another challenge. And this is where I was lucky enough to join Gameloft Brisbane and become the head of studio and discover a bunch of really talented and exciting people and do great games with them. So we went in unleash mode. Basically, the studio were like 55 when I arrived, and we were able, thanks to the support of like the DGTO, Screen Queensland, to grow to 150 people, to go from 1 game team to 2 game teams. And yeah, it's a studio that have already 10 years of expertise, so a lot of people know what they are doing. And we were able to ship Carmen Sandiego earlier this year, which, can I get a round of applause for the team, please, for Carmen Sandiego? Not only it's a cool game, but it's also the very first cross-platform game that the studio did. And you can go now on GB Hi-Fi, for example, and buy the box. So yeah, it's a big step forward for a studio that went from like a mobile first to a PC console. And it's just the beginning. Even if we had a difficult time at the beginning of the year, we have a lot of exciting things in the pipe, and the team is cooking, and you won't finish to hear about us. Can't wait to be there next year. So yeah, that's it about me. I want to address the elephant in the room also. I'm not a psychologist. Everything I say is just a personal opinion. It's not science or anything like that. It's based on what I've experienced over the past 20 years, but also a combination of books. I love to read about this topic, about creative leadership, about our brain, about flow. I'm sure many of you have seen some of the book on the screen right now. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want, because I really invite you all to read this if you haven't done it already. And a lot of the things you're going to see in the upcoming slide are from these books. Letting it a couple of minutes. If you have to choose one, choose Creativity Inc. It's the best. Everybody read it, I'm sure, but it's awesome. It comes from the founder of Pixar. Cool. So let's dive today in six invisible battles that may happen in our own brain and what we can do about them. For that, I need your help. I need you to try to guess. Everyone else is so much more talented. They'll see I'm a fraud. This is not my place to talk about this problem. What's happening in the brain of someone that think like that, in your opinion? Yes. Let's start right away with the most famous. Imposter syndrome. Everybody knows that. This is the act of self-doubt, feeling like a fraud to be exposed. Spoiler, almost everyone experiences it at one point in their life, and some people can experience it all the time. Of course, it comes from the comparison to others, but I think in our industry, it's specifically reinforced by the fact that you have like this kind of legendary developers. We all want to be the next Miyamoto or Hideo Kojima. But not only, it's also reinforced by the fact that the industry is going really quick. Have you played the latest Expedition 33 game? Have you tried the new Donkey Kong? Have you tried the new plugin on Unreal 5.6? Like, it's going really fast, and it's really easy to feel a bit obsolete or to be, a fraud. In this presentation, I love to share a couple of fun facts, or I call them brain facts, about some of the book I was talking about. And in this case, I would like to talk about Mindset, a book from Carl Dweck, who talk about the fact that some people will have a fixed mindset. So, I am this, I am good at math, I am not good at names. Some people define themselves by fixed definition like that. And so when something challenges this definition, it's even harder to take. And imposter syndrome can be linked to that. If you say, I am not an artist, it is not my place to talk about art. I am not a designer, I won't comment about this. It's often both are linked. And in this book, they talk about also the growth mindset, which is more, you're always evolving, you're always learning. So I am not yet good at this. I'm not expert in that, but I have learned stuff in the past. And of course, the book recommends to embrace a growth mindset, and that can also help with failure or problem. Instead of a failure attacking your own identity, it can be used as a fuel to improve. Can anyone tell me where that comes from? Yes. Good. Atlantis, exactly, from the Disney movie. For me, Atlantis will always be a good example, a good reminder of the fact that in game teams, you have some, let's say, more discrete voices, some more subtle voices that may not be the most vocal and may sometimes experience imposter syndrome, but it's not because they are like discreet that you should not listen to them. They can have really good ideas. On Disney Dreamlight Valley, we had a couple of these small voices that were really excited by Atlantis, and most of us were not understanding why. Like saying, yeah, if you tell me Frozen, Toy Story, Lion King, I can understand why you're excited, but Atlantis isn't this game that was kind of successful, but everybody forgot about it? And instead of going with this mentality, some people in the team actually listened and were excited to add a lot of Atlantis content in the game. And oh boy, they were right. The community became insane. We got a ton of visibility, ton of organic marketing, where people were super excited to see Atlantis, which actually became a really big thing in the lore of the franchise. And yeah, and it's a good thing we listened to these small voices, because it really changed the reception of the game. So for me, that will always be a reminder that yes, you can have people that are a bit struggling or a bit more discreet or feeling like an imposter, but if you give them a speakerphone, the game is going to be amazing. So what can we do about that? Trying to have some actionable solution in this talk today. You're not expected to remember all of them or take all of them, but maybe a couple of them you will like. Of course, first, acknowledge that. No one will laugh at you if you don't know something or that you want to share that you don't feel super comfortable. We're all well aware that it's something that's really common now. Try to focus on growth. Again, this growth mindset. An easy way to do is just to write a journal, a work journal, where you put where you succeeded, where you're good at. Like over the year, over the milestone, whatever. Note a couple of things that you're really good at, and when you're stressed or you're anxious, just go back to this and remember what you did that was right. Of course, try to practice some cognitive framing, reframing. I don't know how to do that yet. And something that actually helped me is mentoring people. Like when you mentor someone, you realize at the beginning you may be stressing, saying, what am I going to tell to this person? But after a couple of meetings, you will realize that actually this person is benefiting from this interaction, and so you're not a fraud. So I think that's useful. Last but not least, maybe feeling it is not a bad thing. Maybe it's because actually you are getting out of your comfort zone, because maybe you are going in a place where you're not an expert yet, and as a result, you're growing. So maybe next time you feel like an imposter, maybe it's an indication that you're going in the right direction. Next one. Just this one feature. It's not ready yet. I just need to polish one more detail. Exact. I like it. Perfectionism and feature creep. We all have seen this monster. It's not necessarily this Frankenstein one, but a game that have many things in it that doesn't make a lot of sense at the end. It's really hard, huh? We all are guilty of this. It's the art of never finishing, of course. It's self-sabotage disguised as good intention. And of course, it's fear. It's fear that your game is not enough, your art is not enough, your music is not enough, your code is not enough. It's fear that you need to add more stuff for it to work. And of course, it's bad because it's distracting from the core experience, and it increases time and budget. I have a perfect example of feature creep. I worked on a game that is called Dungeon Hunter Champions. That is beautiful. I love it. Just looking at the art right now. It's a game where it's a PvE and PvP RPG where you collect champions and fight with them. It's really fun. It's really nice. But we were afraid that it will not be enough. We were afraid that it will not compete with games like Summoner's War and stuff like that. So we added more. And we decided to add a full MOBA in the game. I'm not talking about a PvP mode. I'm talking a full MOBA in a PvE. So the MOBA has 3 lanes, 5 versus 5, everything, item, jungle, all the thing. What happened next is pretty obvious. We shipped the game. The PvE was average. The MOBA was average. The game was not like a big failure. It was okay, but really not on par with what we wanted. And that will always be one of the biggest examples in my life of big feature creep. So recommendation, if you don't know what to add in your game, do not add a MOBA. There is one thing to remember is that. What can we do? It's cliché, but it works, prioritization. I was reminded not that long ago by Carl in the room here about one of the ways to prioritize your feature, gold, silver, and bronze. Basically, identify what is really gold in your game, so 5%, 10% max, and put all your perfectionism and polish into that, because this is what the people are going to love, this is what the marketing is going to use. Then go with silver, maybe, I don't know, 10, 15% of your content is silver, so it needs to be okay, good, not perfect, but spend a bit of time. And yeah, then a good 60% around that, bronze. So something that just needs to be working. You don't need to polish it, it just needs to be okay. Basically, it's focusing on what matters. I think a good example of that is Expedition 33, actually, where the game is insane, really good, but you see that they really decided to focus and polish some stuff and skip some other. Of course, why it benefits against impact? Is it useful to put 10 people for 3 weeks on a 2-minute feature? Should you put these people more on something that is 2 hours? I don't know. Limit revision. Share early and share often. It's cliché, but it works. A lot of the things that will make you redo your art, refactor your code, or change your game can be seen way before the end. So don't be shy. Share your content, share your work. And yeah, the whole concept of agile methodology have been built around this, short iteration, avoiding feature creep, trying to get feedback early. So if you want to dive deeper, I really recommend reading this book about this methodology. Next one. I just need to get through this one milestone. Crutch is the cost of great games. Easy one. No? No one? Passion. When passion becomes prison. So yeah, it's crunch, overtime, working late hour, skipping meal, pushing through burnout. It's not necessarily bad producers that has that. Sometimes we do that for ourselves. Like I'm gonna first guilty of this. We're gonna spend hours on a game. We want to make it super great. We're gonna make it super clean. Sometimes, yes, there is a problem in terms of timeline, in terms of resource, in terms of scope. But yeah, basically, when passion becomes self-destruction, it's a problem. And I think it's a big problem in the industry. I think it's getting a bit better, but it's still really there. And if your production pipeline is running on constant overtime, yeah, your production pipeline is broken, basically. And of course, it's a vicious circle, because the more time you spend in overtime, the more bug you add, so the more fix you need to do. Anyway. On a game I cannot talk about, that may or may not have been canceled at the beginning of the year, we were really, really excited by this game, really, really motivated by this game. We really wanted to make it the next big thing for the studio, and we worked really hard on this. Some people spend hours and hours by night or weekend working on that. And it's no one's fault, huh? Nothing against producers. Nothing. The only guilty in this situation is me for enabling that. But yeah, people really cared about this game and really wanted to make it great. And so you can imagine that it's even more painful when the game is just removed like that and disappear like that. And yeah, it's a really good example that even if we really care about our game and we want to make it perfect, we need to find a way to make it more healthy, you know? And it's easier said than done, huh? But they always say, yeah, fail fast, embrace failure, use that to bounce back. But when you spend more than a year and a half for like 50 people and many millions into a game that is removed, there is nothing to embrace. It's just tough. So, what can we do with that? I'm sure everyone here can think of their to-do list. And I'm sure if you think enough about that, it's going to feel infinite. I'm sure you can think of an infinite amount of things you have to do. And I think it's important that we all realize that it's not expected that we reach the end of this to-do list. The only thing that is expected from anyone is to sync with their manager, their producer, their lead, to make sure we're all aligned on the priority order of this list. And then what is expected is that you work efficiently, don't be lazy, on this list and do what you can in correct amount of hours. And if it's not doable, then it's not just a you problem. Maybe it's a question of resourcing, scoping, time, I don't know, but you should involve more person than just you to try to fix that. And yeah, so just be not freaking out on the fact that actually we can have infinite amount of work. Compartmentalize life and work. I think we should all do a better job at that. So when you have a daily shutdown, you're out. Don't install Slack or Mattermost or whatever on your phone. Avoid reading your email. Avoid talking about work too much at home. Just try to stay sane by compartmentalizing everything. But stopping work doesn't necessarily stopping work. Doesn't necessarily mean stopping work. Like, you can stop your day work and do a personal game on the side in the evening, or suddenly become an expert at piano, or go super intense into sports. I think it's really sane and useful to have different flame. So when one flame is struggling a little bit, you can still get excited by the rest. And actually, they're all each other. And I think especially the junior in this industry will give all they have to their work. And it's nice, but they should also think about outside of work. Of course, track impact more than hours. It's useless to be the last to leave the studio if you fix one bug, a really easy bug in one day. On the contrary, track impact. Did you fix a really hard bug that everybody was struggling with? Did you fix a gigantic amount of bug? Did you develop a new tool that saved a lot of time? Just try to reframe that. And last but not least, and maybe more for the manager here, if overtime, because sometimes there is overtime, if overtime should be optional, of course, should be planned, should not act as a surprise, and if the studio can afford it, it should be paid. And I'm saying that, I have literally employee in the studio here in front of me. So it's not just a word on a computer. I think if overtime is something fucked up somewhere, I don't know for which reason, but it should be compensated with a compensation. So yeah, I think that's what we can do to try to improve a little bit this mental battle. Next one. I'm always right. They don't get it. Nobody does it better than me. Someone want to try something? Yeah. Oh, Sean. Ego. No, I'm kidding, Sean. Ego, the enemy. Of course, the inflated sense of self-importance. This is when you think you're the smartest in the room. You think that you're quicker, smarter, better. It's bad. It's the best way to kill collaboration. It's the best way to look like an asshole. It's dumb because it also makes you stop listening. As soon as you think that you have the better outcome, you just stop listening to the other, and it's still a team effort. Except if you're like the creator of Stardew Valley, you're gonna need people to work on your game, and you should be able to bring trust, and ego break trust a lot. So yeah, it makes you push back on feedback. It makes you be blind on the problem of your game, and sometimes you will defend a position or a decision for the wrong reason. In the book, Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday talks about a way to get your ego covered in a way. It's called the canvas method. I think it's interesting. Basically, it's instead of thinking about you, you try to refocus in thinking about others, and you try to become the canvas for others. So how can they shine? How can they be better at their work? What can you do for them to shine in the end? And in the end, all that is going to come back to you, of course. But yeah, I think it's an interesting way to frame that. I'm sure everyone can think of why ego is bad in the industry and why it can be really bad for games themselves. This is the first quadruple A. This is a brand new genre. I'm going to make you my beep. A lot of examples of ego-driven problem in this industry, which is, of course, pretty hard. So it depends. It can be the marketing. It can be the creator. There is many reasons why these games on the screen have been really struggling with ego. And special mention to No Man's Sky, because, yes, the launch was bad, but after that, they became amazing. But yeah, I think it's a good example of games that were really struggling with ego or their creator or their team. So what can we do? Of course, the canvas method, really interesting. But also asking when you're sure you're right, ask, what if I'm wrong? And I'm not talking about the little voice that is sometimes giving you doubt. I'm talking about saying out loud, what if I'm wrong? Why am I so sure that I'm right? And maybe I am wrong. Encourage disagreement and dissent. You don't need to agree with everybody, but at least people should feel confident that they can disagree with you. And yeah, tell them that they are winning reputation points if they bring an argument or a different position with you. Just try to make it happen. There is no best way to lose trust than not admitting mistake. If you're wrong, admit it quickly, because yeah, if it's obvious, it's really hurting you. And you remember this work journal I was talking at the beginning where you put your successes? Put your failure also. Put where you failed. And of course, the learning you got from that. But this is actually really useful to get an objective view of you, is putting your wins and your failure. I personally do that on a yearly basis, and I think it's always super useful. I try to keep that updated over the year, but it's always helped me to get a big picture of what I'm doing at work. Almost finished. They have something against me anyway. They are not disagreeing, they are attacking me. It's a bit more subtle, this one. Anyone? Yeah, exactly. Identity attachment and feedback aversion. So this is when your creative outputs become your own identity. So of course it's linked to everything we've been talking so far, but this is when you become super defensive because you receive the feedback and your brain reacts like in fight or flight mode, like it hurts. It actually hurts and you feel under a threat. This is also why one negative feedback will overcome every positive one. And yeah, in the book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Kahneman talked about the fact that our brain has two systems. System one, which is really quick, instinctive, almost animal. This is the system that will save you from a car crash. This is a really, really important system. And system two, which is really lazy, really slow, and really rational. And basically the book, and I really invite you to read all this book because I do a bad job, I'm summarizing them. This book is about the fact that you need both, of course, to live, but you also need to find ways to activate one or the other, because sometimes system one will take over when it should be system two, or the opposite. I have an example in my career where I really struggled to dissociate feedback I was receiving versus the work or me. Again, on Dungeon Hunter, we had an influencer that was really well known and reached out to the QA team of our game. And basically, there was a miscommunication, but the QA team sent this influencer all the best champions in the game. And sent that to his personal account, and sent that when it was live on stream. So every player were able to see Gameloft sending all the OP champion in a really PvP competitive game. You can imagine what happened next. Everybody was raging. We got a ton of negative feedback and problems, of course. And it took us like 3 weeks to just try to explain that this was a mistake and that we were sorry. But at the time, it really became personal because people find my name, find who I was, what I was doing. They called my boss to try to get me fired. I got some threat. I can tell you that at this time, it's really hard to differentiate personal feedback and work feedback. So yeah, the video game can be pretty tough. Video game industry can be pretty tough. What can we do about that? So it doesn't need necessarily to be about community, but when you receive a feedback, that hurts. We basically try to hack our brain to force system two. It's really classic, but the cool-off rules, just receive the feedback, and instead of saying right now, wait a couple hours, or go sleep. In the morning, system two will have automatically started. It's a hack. It will automatically work. So yeah, try to have little hacks like that so you know which system you are using, and try to force system two when you feel that you're on the defensive side. Listen actively. When someone is telling you feedback, try, it's hard, but try to not already prepare your answer. Try to really open, to really listen and stay open. I don't think also it's useful to start with no. Maybe don't start with yes, but at least just staying close is I think, useless for collaboration. We all need to remember that we are not our game, pretty hard, but when the game is under the microscope, it's the game, not the game maker. And when you get many feedback, try to look for repetition, because not every feedback is useful. Some feedback is purely toxic or useless. But if 3 or 5 people say the same thing and they haven't discussed together, this is where there is something on you. So yeah, try to look for repetition. And in general, protect your energy. Don't read every Reddit thread. And don't necessarily engage too much on Discord with your player, because when something can go bad, it can go bad really, really quickly. Last but not least, they don't need a playtest to tell me what I know. They don't play the right way. This is the one that makes me the most mad, personally. Why we can't see our own game. Yeah, I'm mad about that because I feel that I got all figured out. I'm rational, I see the vision, I see the thing, it's cool. But the thing that is happening in my head is not actually the thing that is in the build. And it's true for almost every discipline. And it's worse, the longer you work on a game, the more blind you become to the game, and you lose the big picture. And yeah, I've seen that happening to me many times, and I'm just afraid how blind I could be, in these games. Of course, when you play a game, you're more testing than playing, so of course you're biased. You're building a big tunnel vision, and it's really hard. In Creativity Inc., the founder of Pixar, Ed Catmull, who then, after founding Pixar, joined Disney, and at Disney, when Pixar merged with Disney, this is what resulted in like Tangled or Frozen. Ed Catmull said that early on, all our movies suck. And we're talking WALL-E, Toy Story, Monster Inc. We're not talking small movies. He said that at the beginning, all our movies suck. And the role of the team is not to have a great movie on day one. The role of our team is to literally, I quote, bring the movies from suck to non-suck. That's how it's word. And if it's true for WALL-E and Toy Story, it's true for your game also, and mine. Before being Gameloft's biggest success, Disney Dreamlight Valley was Gameloft's worst playtest feedback. I will always remember that. It was at the beginning of COVID. All the team were in lockdown mode. We were super anxious. And we are trying to get everyone a computer to work at home. And we received feedback. We were all like more or less happy with the game. We had like 100 missions. We had 75 Disney characters ready. And I got a call from the manager of the playtest in Paris who told me, Manea, just a warning, you're going to receive a report. It's the most negative I've seen in my career at Gameloft. Ow. And it was. It was pretty bad. The game was boring. Every character felt the same. All the missions were, everything was like randomly generated. So yeah, you have like, oh, Wally want a carrot today. Cool, yeah, awesome. So yeah. We were blind, and we felt we have something good in our hand, and we did not. So I'm really, really, really proud of the team at the time because they were able to swallow their ego, challenge that, went back to the drawing board. Instead of having 75 characters, we had 15, and we launched with 15. But they all felt unique and really cool. And yeah, I think it was an amazing example of you can be passionate and super excited and still blind about your game. So what can we do about that? Playtest, 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 and playtest. Even if you don't have a tutorial, even if it's all gray block, even if it's M01, there is always some interesting learning to get from a playtest and someone in your target audience playing your game. It sounds obvious, but we always wait for the right thing to get playtested. What I love to do on most of the game I've worked on is to create some sort of player council on the experts, which is either people in your target audience that know really well the kind of game you do, or people actually playing your game if it's live, and you put them in a Discord channel or in a Slack channel, and they are acting like your advising board. Like they are not deciding anything, they are not designing anything. It's just like you can send them their way your ideas, your stories, your design, or ask questions to them. It's just an extra amount of feedback that is free to do, and it's often really useful and really good. Gather internal feedback. Your team is always the first indicator of if your game is cool or not. Of course, we can all be biased a little bit, but it's always useful to know if the team trusts or not the game. If the team doesn't think the game is fun, yeah, good luck to get the player thinking the game is fun. And yeah, the last thing, you can maybe steal the brain trust ID from Pixar in Creativity Inc. It's a group of like, how do you call that? Director and a movie producer that are put together, and like the movie team send them like a script or early version of the movies, and the brain trust analyze this, share feedback, and just share problems. And they are not giving solution. They are not also like driving anything. It's the movie team who has to manage the solution, find the solution for the problem. And the only thing that is required is that they care about the problem. Like they should not go 2 or 3 times to the brain trust with the same problem. So yeah, I think it's interesting because all the director and the producer were in the same position in the past, so they know what it is to ship a movie. And it's an interesting setup for game, of course. So that was it for the 6 invisible battle. I have a question for you now. What invisible battle are you going to win? What invisible belief are you ready to leave behind? You don't need to share it, but maybe you can take 2 minutes to think about it. Maybe write it on your phone or on a paper, I don't know, but yeah, just ask yourself the question. I'm waiting. I'm still waiting. I have one last thing I wanted to share with you all today. I said at the beginning that I was taking not a step back, but trying to think a bit about all that over the year and putting some stuff on paper. I am actually writing a book. It's not finished yet. I'm nothing to sell. But I'm writing a book about all that, who go through all of this, but also many other things. Thank you, Ben, for the cover that you can see. I think it's amazing. Ben from Gameloft. For today, I wanted to give you all a link to download the part 4 of this book, so the last part, which is called the Fixing Fun Framework. It's a tool, a framework I've been working on over the year, which is kind of a complementary tool of what we just discussed, which is a way for us, including me, to take back the control on our career, to not necessarily rely on like title, promotion, other company, just making sure that we are aligned with what we're doing with our own career, having tools to help win mental battles, and try to rediscover the fun, like making sure we're aligned with our own values, and making sure, yeah, we are enjoying working on games, because it's still cool to do games, and it's still really, really important, in my opinion, to do games, especially looking at how the world is going. It is supposed to be a tool that works for junior, intermediate, seniors, artists, programmers. It's supposed to work for everyone, any type of team. And yeah, it's built on some of the book we discussed, but also the concept of portrayed career. And it's tried to be fun with like some martial arts inspired progression. Basically, you have to go through belt, white belt, yellow belt, etc., and do mission. So how does it work? It's 36 actionable mission. It's not like high-level quote, and it's actual thing you have to do, all divided into 6 pillars. The first pillar is purpose, or find your X, your why, making sure you know what are your value. And if you don't know the framework that you can download, I have some guides inspired by the book Start With Why. So yeah, first pillar, purpose. Second pillar, mastery. Become the best at what you do. Identifying a niche or a part of your skill that you are really good at and that you could become the best at. This famous growth mindset, embracing it, finding a way to hack your brain to make sure you're in the growth direction. Protecting your passion, protecting your flame. Building collaboration. Again, video game is a collaborative work, so we need to build trust. And resilience, especially when the industry is a bit shaky, being able to embrace change and pivot. It's really simple, actually. It looks complex, but it's just a list of missions you have to do. And each year, or several times a year, you can just check your mission, check your boxes, see the one you've done, and yeah, you unlock your belt. And of course, the end goal is to become a black belt in everything. I'm not at all a black belt in everything in my case. I'm going to use that to try to grow. But yeah, it can be fun, and I hope with that we'll be able to all bring back a bit the fun into this. So yeah, you can download this now. Just take a screenshot of the QR code. If you're interested also, I can notify you when the book drops. I don't know. I don't have a date or anything yet. And try to share stuff like that. But yeah, it's warning, it can go into your spam. So yeah, check your spam. But yeah, and also it's a V1, so I also encourage everyone to share feedback on what you think about that, and if you want to give feedback to help me make it a V2 also, cool. Another QR code, we are recruiting at Gameloft. So if you want to join us, please reach out to Jefferson or take a screenshot here. Yeah, we are growing the team. We have 2 really, really exciting projects, and I can't wait to talk about them soon. But yeah, so I'm letting a little bit of time for people to take the screenshot. Perfect. And yeah, fixing fun starts with you. You're not an imposter. You're not your ego. You're the spark that can keep the flame alive. Thank you, everybody. I have 2 minutes for question, a bit of question. Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to raise your hand, and there is a mic in the room. Yeah, here.
Thanks. Great talk. I was wondering about the whole, keeping the flame alive outside of work. What do you feel like Gameloft Brisbane does in particular to sort of help foster that for the employees there, to be able to give them the space to do stuff outside of work?
There's a couple of things. The idea is that first we will encourage and allow people to work like on personal game, for example, on the side. If you want to craft your own personal project, of course you're welcome to. There is something we want to launch soon. I can share, Bradley, Justine. So we will also like to really soon create an event at the studio where people can come and demo their own game. So they can also get feedback from Gamelofters and just show off their work. I think it's really important because we're all super passionate about that. And yeah, in general, we try to share a lot, encourage a lot, and make sure people can see other things than just what's happening at Gameloft. And that's true for working on personal projects, but that's true also for other things. Like if you like Magic, we have a huge team of Magic players. We try to encourage people to get a bit sportive also with either like volleyball or rugby or stuff like that. There are many ways we try to encourage people to find their flame outside of Gameloft, and we hope they also like working at Gameloft. Yeah, there. Sorry, I make you walk.
Thank you very much for this. It's really admirable what you're doing and sort of sharing ways and tools for people to really sort of get past really difficult issues. I guess
Thank you.
the thing that of course. Like, I think one of the things that I'm really curious about, especially seeing that you're writing a book, like what drove you to decide, hey, I have these tools that I've been reading about and thinking about and deciding. What drove you to decide to actually take action on it?
It's a big question. It all accelerated again with the cancellation of the game at the beginning of the year, but it's a topic that I've always been I always cared a lot about that, just because I see the impact on me first. But yeah, I've read a lot about this topic, and I have been really profoundly changed or moved by books like Creativity Inc. And I feel that as a studio manager, I may have an opportunity to help people go through that. like I did and I do. So that's a bit why I'm doing that. Yeah, if I can help some people, it's cool. If it can help me also in the adventure, it's cool also.
Great talk and great topic. I'm interested in something you mentioned about how life isn't always ideal, and sometimes studios have to start again on a new project suddenly, and you have a lot of people waiting, but you don't necessarily know yet what the new game or the new project is going to be. What kind of ways do you have served you well in navigating through that chaotic period where no one really knows exactly what the right answer might be, and you also don't want to get trapped in a spiral of attacking the thing before it's even begun?
I'm just going to rephrase to make sure I understood. How do I handle like period in between project, or what's the next big idea, or what's the next project?
Yeah, when a project suddenly comes your way on a studio and you don't have the luxury of starting small, but you have a lot of people to engage, how do you navigate through that chaotic early period where there's so many voices and opinions going on, but you're trying to work out what it is?
It's hard to give one answer because each game is different. Like you will have, I can talk, for example, about Carmen Sandiego. When the game, the idea came to the studio, there was like a great excitement about working on this game. But of course, there is a lot of cook in the kitchen. With like, we were in collaboration with Netflix, with HarperCollins. So in this case, there is a lot of pitching and alignment before even like building the first prototype. Sometimes it can be a bit different. Of course, we always try to get some game and project in advance to avoid having a long period where there is no game for the studio. It's easier said than done. Huh? And what I would love to do, we haven't done it yet, but is to try to build also a place for the team to like build some prototyping or some fun ideas that are not necessarily related to an IP or anything. But they can try to find like true innovation into gameplay, for example, and then maybe that becomes an actual project we all work on. So trying to have several production pipelines in parallel, some a bit bigger, some a bit smaller, and juggling with all of this. Does it make sense? Cool. Yeah.
Thank you again for the talk. I don't know if you identify as neurodivergent, but I wanted to ask whether any of the research for the book covers or just speaks to different neurotypes.
I'm not an expert in this area, so I don't want to say stuff that I don't know, basically. So I'm trying to do a book that is as open as possible and trying to talk about this topic like as broad as possible. And then what I hope is that people look at all this topic and pick and choose what makes sense for them and not having me telling them they should take this or that because they are this or that, you know. So yeah, just it's a panel of things, pick what you like, and hopefully it's helping you, whoever you are. I think we're done. Thank you, everybody. If there is more question, we can discuss. Bye.